theater of Holocaust. So if you would be interested more about Polish theater of Holocaust, I strongly recommend you the English version of Polish book. It's called The Polish Theater of Holocaust. I Jerzy is professor of Jagiellonian University in Krakow and one of the greatest Polish theater scholars. And he is really explaining why Holocaust became the crucial moment for post-war Polish theater. So the war, which was theatricalized by the chronicles, became something extremely vivid. And one example, and in my opinion, most crucial example of this Holocaust theater is the Acropolis, staging of the masterpiece by Stanisław Wyspiański, one of Polish drama writer from the late 19th and early 20th century, who was very much living in the time of partition, in the time where Poland was not existing as a state, and his whole life he was fighting to liberate the Poland from the colonizers, to create the nation that could be liberated. Because he was thinking that one of the reasons we are not free is because our inner conflicts. We are always quarreling each other. Nevertheless, the Acropolis was the story of very metaphorical story. I will tell about Grotowski, about the Acropolis later in more details, but just to give you the idea, the Acropolis is of course the most important part of ancient Athenian city. Acropolis is this hill with these temples, which is just like the essence of Athenian identity. In Acropolis, for this Polish writer, would be the cathedral in Krakow. Cathedral, which is the necropolis, the burial place of Polish kings. And in this cathedral, in the night before the Easter, the miracle happens. All these monuments of Polish important persons, of Polish kings, all these monuments come back to life. And in the final moment, from the heaven, the Savior comes on the chariot. The fiery chariot is destroying the city of Krakow, destroying everything, burning to ashes, and takes all these resurrected humans back to the heaven. This is resurrection. This is the promise, the hope that Polish nation will be liberated, at the end will be free. But this staging happened after the Second World War, after the experience of Holocaust, of killing, of disaster. Young Polish director, Jerzy Grotowski, invited to the staging the Auschwitz prisoner, Józef Scheiner. Here is the image of Scheiner in Auschwitz. He was one of the earliest Auschwitz prisoners. In 1943, together with two other prisoners, he attempted to run away from Auschwitz, but Germans caught them all. The staging is extremely cruel. This is the first time in Polish theater that nobody was clapping their hands. People were frozen. And because the shock of this performance, this is just like 50 minutes of the performance. This is the beginning image. The Scheiner, the person who created the set and who also designed the costumes, he was wandering with his actors looking for the garbage spaces. All the props in this performance are found objects, destroyed. As you can see, wheelchair, everything is rotten. So all this, what they could find on some garbage places in the city of Opole, far away from here. And so he created a pile of this. on this wooden chest, wooden box. And the people, actors, 6 actors, 5 men and 1 woman, were the prisoners. And in this first image, they are the part of this garbage. They are laying down as the garbage. And all this comes to life when this guy, who is called Corypheus, starts to play on violin, very bad, a very famous tune at the time, popular tune called Tango Milonga. Tango Milonga. This was for Polish people extremely meaningful tune, because this was tune which was played by the musician to welcome new arrivals to Auschwitz. So this funny music was to welcome the victims of the massacre. So amazing. And so, but this is waking up all these characters. These characters who are coming to life are not only the monuments and disease, they are also the images from the tapestry, from the Homer's stories, and from the Christian biblical stories, not Christian, biblical, Old Testament stories. And all these characters are coming. The whole point of Wyspiański, the author, was that we Polish people are part of the European huge history. We are part as well as of the Greek mythological history, but also of the Christian, of the Jewish history. So we are very complex nation. We are combination of many different influences, languages, cultures, and all this comes together in this resurrection moment. What does Grotowski and China? They think that in Auschwitz, the crematory became the new Acropolis, the new place where all these cultural European traits meet to be destroyed and annihilated. After Auschwitz, you lose hope, and there is no savior who will come. The last final sin is going down to the crematory for ashes, to be ashes. And so the actors, as you can see here, use their faces as the mask. In Auschwitz, there is the name Muslim, Musulman in Polish, given to people who lost hope. There were prisoners in Auschwitz who didn't have any energy to go on. They were just sitting, they were just like empty human corpses. They called them Muslims. And they had this very powerful mask on their faces. They didn't express any human emotions. And so Grotowski, when he was working with actors, he was trying to find inner association for everybody to create from inside the mask. When you read about ancient Greek theater, you read about the greatest artisans who created masks for the tragedy actors. Here, the reversion is applied. You, the actor, you, the performer, you create yourself the mask of the Muslim, of this empty corpse, of this zombie in Auschwitz. And so, as you can see, the lady, is ogilophrenic. She's always happy. And this guy is always suffering. He will play Helena in one of these Greek episodes. And this guy is the blind Homeros, blind singer, who is going to lead and be Corypheus of all this. And this whole staging has nothing to do with the drama itself. They are building totally senseless civilization with these rotten materials. As you can see, there are some metal strings. They are hanging something on this metal string. There is this wedding ceremony when there is no bride, only this, you can see this rotten object being treated as the wife of Jacob, Rahela. At the end, there is no savior. Accidentally, they found the puppet, just like the rock, and something that is really dirty, that is having no hope in itself, just like the random object discovered in the garbage. And they treat this as the savior. And they sing the most heroic partisan song, which we knew from the Second World War, was sang by partisans when they were fighting or doing something important. And so with this song, which is supposed to be the song of victory, of hope, they go inside this wooden chest, which becomes now crematory, and they all disappear inside, and there is a silence. And so this is amazing, powerful story of the European civilization. There is no guardian here. There are no Nazis, there are no Germans who are pressing anything on the 6 people. The 6 people are epitomizing European civilization who is running to commit suicide. The Second World War was proving that the highest art, the greatest geniuses, just like now in Russia, look at one of the most gifted nations on the planet, Russians, who are massacring Ukrainians. What the hell? So all this cultural achievement means nothing, because we are running to commit suicide. So this is the most pessimistic vision of European culture. We, after the war, are disappointed with the human. We suspect that the human can do only bad things. And so, few more examples of this world theater in modern times in Poland. This is a very revolutionary play. I will say all about these authors and this place later, when I will focus on most contemporary. I'm only trying to show that there is kind of straight genealogy, origin in this early medieval times for what we were doing later. This is In the Dust. Tadeusz Różewicz, who was the author of this play, was living here in Wrocław, actually, one of the greatest Polish poets. We still don't know what he never won the Nobel Prize. He was much better than some other prize winners in poetry in Poland. But nevertheless, he wrote the play about Polish partisans who were, in the communistic time, extremely idealized. Polish partisans who fought with Germans, not with Russians, because Russians were our friends in communistic Poland. So these Polish partisans, they were just like ideal human beings. But in reality, they were just simple motherfuckers sometimes. And he is showing drunkards, corrupted people, people who are victimizing each other. So these partisans are not ideal, they are just human beings. This became shock. And this started this historical trend of looking different at our recent Polish history. Because the communist time was idealizing, making Poles the angels. They would never hurt anybody, especially Jews. We love everybody. Shit, you know this. And so, another very important war story on foot. I will tell later about one of the most interesting and bizarre Polish artists who was just like the Polish Leonardo da Vinci, Witkacy, who was a very gifted painter, very gifted philosopher, and he wrote huge corpus of drama. He was actually inventing the theater of the absurd, but he was not Ionesco, he was not writing in French, which is understandable by many people. He was actually writing in Polish in small city at the time, Zakopane, today one of the most important current in the South Poland. And so he was totally unknown. And so and he also, his life was extremely, I would say, emblematic for us Polish people. He was having very strong connection to Malinowski, who was the founder of the modern anthropology. They were traveling together to Australia. He was in love with the girl who committed suicide. In order to process the suicide, he went to Russia, and when the Bolshevik Revolution started, he was one of so-called Leibgwardia. He was the closest to the Tsar. He was one of these officers who would be defending Tsar against the Bolsheviks. Of course, as you know, Bolsheviks won, the Tsar and the White Army was defeated, and Wittkancy had to pass the whole Russia after the revolution, and he was hiding, he was pretending to be a Bolshevik commissary. And after this experience, he had this amazing phobia that the Russian will destroy the civilization. And he created in his absurd drama the visions of the huge, powerful, just like Putin, characters who are with no reason destroying, devouring, breaking. And so when the Russian invaded Poland, just after the Germans, he decided to commit suicide. And this play on foot by Mrożek, one of the Polish most important recent drama writer, is about this committing suicide in front of the